that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice had a terrific opening weekend. It ended up making, what did it make in the neighborhood of? It was like $111 million opening weekend, which is more than impressive. I mean, I think it was the third biggest opening of the year so far. And I think the second biggest opening in any September in history, which is great. Only behind It Chapter 1. That's the only other September release movie that made more money than Beetlejuice did. Now, again, the kind of disclaimer, I did not like Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. I thought it was terrible. It's probably going to be in my top 10 worst films of the year list, but there's a lot of people who had a really good time with it, and a lot of people rushed out to go see it, and it's done incredibly well, insanely well. And it has now followed that up by having a really good second weekend as well. As we jump over to IMDb, we see that Beetlejuice Beetlejuice took in $51.6 million, which represents just a 53% drop. Now, I'll tell you why that's so impressive. Because some of you would say, John, but you're always saying that between 50 and 60 is what a second weekend drop-off should be. Why are you saying a 53% drop-off is so impressive? Because the one exception that you often get when you get these movies that have, you know, massive opening weekends, like this one did, is that you'll tend to have a little bit of a larger second weekend drop-off just because so many people have already seen it. Like people, they do a double take and they say, you must be crazy when I say that, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home, that had one of the biggest opening weekends of all time, had a nearly 70% second weekend drop-off. People love the movie. It's just that everybody rushed out to go see it right away. And so had a much softer second weekend, even though it still made a ton of money at second weekend. For Beetlejuice Beetlejuice to be the third biggest opening of the year, second biggest September opening of all time, making over $110 million on its opening weekend, for it to have a 53% drop, I think that is a little bit more impressive than the average film having a 53% drop off on its second weekend. Now, yes, it was helped by the fact that there were no big, real strong other movies opening this week. Like you had Speak No Evil. Obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine is still out there, but it's now like its eighth or ninth week, something like that. You had Killer's Game opening, but nobody, I'm not even sure Dave Bautista's parents went to go see this movie. No. It made like $2 million opening weekend. But so it had a soft second weekend, but still $51 million on its second weekend is pretty damn impressive, which means for it to make that much money on second weekend, it means that, yeah, there were people who waited to go see it till now, but it also means there are people going back to see it a second time.
Yep. Repeat. And
there are new people going to go see it as a result of word of mouth. Not my word of mouth, but other people's word of mouth on it. The people who did have a really good time with it. And again, there were a bunch of them. And so I think this bodes very well for the, hell, even Speak No Evil, which I thought could make between 7 and 8 million. It ended up making 11.5.
Yeah.
For like this little film that's clearly not a broad appeal kind of movie.
I think I read it only cost them 11 million.
It was a very small budget. It was, I can't remember the exact number, but it was a very, very small budget.
Like, wow, so McAvoy did them a favor on that one.
That movie's going to end up being profitable. So good on them. And right now, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice has a domestic or a worldwide grand total of $264 million. Why is that number important? Because the movie cost $100 million to make. You can fact check me on that, but I believe it was like somewhere between $100 and $105 million.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
They spent about $60 million on marketing it, which means this movie needed to make about $240 million to break even. At $264 million, that means after just its second weekend, the movie's profitable. Yeah. It's now every new ticket that they sell is just profit. Pure, delicious, gooey, creamy, cheesy profit, baby.
I mean, we're talking mozzarella and sour cream, baby.
Kind of things that rub on my nipples and sing old songs. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, The Perfect Jean. Okay, so I've got to tell you about the Perfect Jean. These jeans are seriously a game changer. You know that feeling you get when you find a pair of jeans that fit so well that you almost forget that you're wearing them? That's what happened when I tried these. I'm not kidding. They're as comfortable as your favorite sweatpants, and they can slide on like them too, but they still look amazing. Look, as guys, we've all suffered through stiff, uncomfortable jeans, but the Perfect Jean is all about recusing, well, your gentlemanly area. These jeans are soft, stretchy, and they fit like they were custom made just for you. Because they've got an insane range of sizes, whether you're a skinny jeans kind of guy or rocking the bigger look. And they didn't just stop with jeans, they've got the perfect tee as well, with just the right amount of stretch to hide that beer belly, but still make you look great. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use the code Campea15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with the promo code Campea15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show by telling them that we sent you. F your khakis and get the Perfect Jean.
Look, from what Variety is reporting, that they pitched this movie to stream on Max, but Tim Burton lowered the budget to under 100 million just to get it in theaters.
Yep.
Which is great.
So the original idea was for it to go straight to streaming. The original budget was going to be about 130 to 140 or 150 million dollars. And Tim Burton was like, I want to take this. This should be in the theaters. And he was right. So they made a deal with him. I was like, all right, tell you what, lower the budget because we're going to need money to spend on marketing. If we're going to put this thing in theaters, we got to have money to put into marketing. So lower the budget. It was also going to be a longer movie. It was the original pitch for it was going to be about a half hour longer. Look, I didn't like the movie, but I think even most people who did like the movie will acknowledge it should not have been any longer. Like that was as long as that movie should be.
Do you think this situation or this scenario is going to happen more often as streaming becomes more of like a comfortable place where studios can put their movies? Do you think the directors will compromise like Tim Burton did in the future movies, maybe like that maybe the studios don't believe in or maybe want to just put straight to streaming?
I think so. I think if you listen, remember the same sort of thing happened with freaking Roadhouse.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
Because the studio, Amazon said to the director, said, tell you what, you have a choice. Keep the budget where it is and keep the money that we're paying you all, and we'll put it on streaming, or let's reduce the budget and we'll put it in theaters because we'll have money to put a marketing campaign. And they chose to put it on streaming. Mistake. Because I think Roadhouse would have made some money because it was a pretty low budget film.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're seeing this more and more, right? Like obviously the big example of this was Tom Cruise. Now, granted, they weren't going to put Top Gun on streaming, but they started thinking about putting it on streaming. They're like, oh, the pandemic, let's just dump this thing on streaming. And Tom Cruise was like, F no. He drew a line in the sand. He said, there's no way we're putting this thing, and they got rewarded. Alien Romulus was supposed to go straight to streaming.
Like
and they were
Prey.
like, huh.
Like Prey did.
Just like Prey did. But they're like, I think we all regret that we didn't put Prey in theaters. Maybe we should put this thing in theaters. They put it in the theaters. What happened? They made money. And now with Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, it's like, look what happened. You reduce the budget. By the way, $100 million budget is exactly where a movie like this should be anyway. They shortened the runtime a bit to make it more palatable in theaters. They took a bunch of that money and put it towards the marketing. And already after its second weekend, this movie is profitable.
Yeah, making that extra sharp cheddar.
It would have been cheaper if they didn't use that last song, that worst.
They didn't pay the rights on it. I don't think that one cost
the
much.
worst part of the movie.
I liked the movie, but then there was a period where it stopped, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then it kept going the same amount of time. It was like it doubled the length. I'm like, no.
Yeah, so listen, a lot of lessons to be learned here. Now, how big will this movie get? Don't know. I don't think it gets to $500 million, but I'll tell you what, at $264 million after it's just a second weekend, now it's got Transformers 1 coming out. It's got a few, but it's not ridiculous to think this thing could get to $500 million.
It's it needs a little more international love, don't you think? Like for it.
Well,
to
yeah,
reach
look,
five?
Beetlejuice is not a
That's-
movie that's going to play as well in international
That's
markets.
where I think it's gonna get stuck.
And I
Like-
think it as it goes, if it has legs, it's gonna get that Halloween bump, a little Halloween bump
If
at
it's
that
still in
point.
theaters.
But that's about
it'll
it.
still be in theaters,
You
but
think so? October 31st.
It's only 2 weeks. Well, not.
But it's only
I'm
like
not
6
saying,
weeks away.
I'm not saying all the way to Halloween, but I'm saying leading up to Halloween.
Yeah, maybe
People
get
get in
a
that
little bit
Halloween
of that bump.
spirit. Yeah.
We'll see. Because right now, domestically, it's made 188 million, but internationally, it's only made 76.
Yeah.
So that's where it's going to like not have the long-term legs and have that long-term push. So again, I think it's going to come in under 500 million, but it's not ridiculous to think it could get to 500 million. So anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Beetlejuice, a movie I don't even like, but it has had tremendous success. Great second weekend, only a 53% drop for a movie that made over $110 million in its opening weekend. That is impressive. What do you think about it? How much longer do you think it can go? How high do you think the box office returns can get? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.